And we are live.
Welcome to Dirty Fanatics United.
Falcon fans, Falcon Nation, Dirty Fanatics United coming at you live on a Tuesday night, not Sunday, not Friday, but back to the Tuesday night shows. I am your host, C Money, followed by my co-host, Philip, Cody, Robert, and we have a special guest in the building tonight, Falcon fans, Mr. Rick. Hit that like button, leave a comment, subscribe if you haven't already. This is your Atlanta Falcon podcast. Philip, a.k.a. Weatherman, what's going on, man? How are you doing? Snow in South Georgia for the first time in 8 years for the hometown. Philip, what's going on?
Well, we out here, it's a very snowy night. So we ain't used to, so I had to, do it for the views. You know what I mean? We had to get a little show and everything, man. We're supposed to be at least 5 to 6 inches of snow. We ain't used to that. We're usually getting 3. So
yeah. Of
course, I'm out here, being the weatherman and testing it out. So we're gonna see how that goes.
Philip, glad to have you here tonight, brother, to talk Falcon football.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead and get inside and get to that desk so you can get in a warm seat when we talk Falcon football.
Back to you, Chase, in the studio here.
Cody Keeler, what's going on, Cody? Obviously, Falcon football is over, but DFU was steady bringing Falcon content to the viewers, as we always do. Cody, what's going on, man? It's been a long week since we've had a podcast. Canceled the last show because of the wife being sick. Now we are here tonight talking Falcon football, episode 129. Cody, what's going on, brother?
Oh, man, not much. Just you guys need to send a little bit of snow down this way. I'm a little disappointed. If I'm going to be freezing my ass off in 22-degree weather, I better be getting snow, but I'm not. So I'll say, but we're here waiting. We're here waiting on it, so we'll see. I know with my luck, I'll wake up and there'll be 4 inches of snow on the ground, and I'll be calling work being like, hey, guess who's not coming in tomorrow?
Absolutely. Cody, glad to have you here tonight, brother, to talk Falcon football. We got a couple of topics to talk about tonight, but tonight's show is about our special guest, another diehard Falcon fan that we bring here to DFU to talk Falcon football, because that's what Falcon fans do. We come on, we talk Falcon football, and there is no playoff football. That's what we do here at DFU. Robert, what's going on, man? Glad to have you here in the short notice tonight. Wasn't sure if you was going to make it, but you're able to come through for DFU. Robert, what's going on, brother?
Oh, just a hectic day at work today. Just no time to catch my breath, no time, to collect my thoughts, but got through it, got home safely, and good to be on the show tonight and going to talk some Falcon football. And Rick, welcome.
Man,
glad to have you tonight.
Yes, sir.
Rick, brother, obviously, as Robert just stated, we're excited to have you here on the show, as we are all our special guests for the podcast. Rick, how you been, man? I know you've been a Falcon fan for quite a while. I've seen you on social media, quite a big following over on Facebook. I know you do jiu-jitsu on the side, all this other stuff that you have going on. Rick, share with the fans what's been going on, man.
Man, sure. So pretty much been a Falcons fan my whole life. Lived in Georgia my entire life. Always been loyal to red and black. Braves fan, Hawks fan. Don't judge me. The only Georgia team I don't like is the Dogs.
Okay.
I wanted to play baseball at the University of Miami, so I was a Hurricane when I was a little kid. In the 90s, we were winning championships. They were brash, so I kind of stuck with those guys. But Georgia is my second team, so I always like to see them be successful. I rep Georgia and Atlanta. So season ticket holder since 2017 when the new stadium opened.
Nice.
I planted my flag on the visitor side so I can give them hell. I'm not that cold because I'm kind of fired up with all these Falcons fans online right now with our DC and all the things going on. So I like to go and mix it up with those guys every once in a while.
Absolutely. Rick, glad to have you here tonight, man. We are going to dive straight into it here on the podcast. Our first topic for tonight, defensive coordinator. The Atlanta Falcons bring in some nice candidates here. We talked about it prior of the hiring of Jeff Ulbrich. Cody, Phillip, Robert, you was here that night, right? Yeah, it was Cody, Phillip, and Robert. Or it was me, Phillip, and Robert. Okay, Cody was out that night. But we mentioned it the night before, how to expect a Jeff Ulbrich hire here in Atlanta. Robert, Phillip, we broke it down. We even shared the reel of what we said on the podcast. But just to start it off, Cody, you weren't here for the last podcast, so let me get your views and aspects on this situation. The Atlanta Falcons bring in their very first interview, Wink Martindale, a strong candidate right out the gate. Falcon fans are loving what the organization is doing with bringing in these coaches. Then you have a Lou Anarumo, another vet DC in the NFL that's been around the league for quite some time, took a team to the Super Bowl, actually won that Super Bowl. So you have that there as well. That's two top candidates. Then you come with the Steve Wilkes candidate, the guy that's kind of been passed around year after year after year. And then you have Jeff Ulbrich, and you have another one from the Steelers. I forget his first name. I apologize. His last name's Brown.
And then Green.
Was it Green? I'm not sure exactly. Apologize, fans, if we getting that incorrect. But you interviewed a lot of people, Cody, and you settled down with Jeff Ulbrich, a guy that was here back in 2012 to 2017, I believe it was, his time in Atlanta. He was the linebackers coach 2016. Obviously, Dan Quinn's fired 2017. He takes the DC role for Raheem to step up and take the assistant head coach. Cody, just your thoughts and views on the Atlanta Falcons selection and what does this mean for this team heading forward?
Well, I'll be honest. First off, I wasn't super thrilled with the hire to start. I thought Steve Wilkes was the guy that you needed to go get. Proven guy that's been around. He's been passed around, but he has great defenses regardless of team. Players that he's got on his team. This is just another one of those Atlanta Falcon hires that feels like it was comfortable. Everybody's kind of friendly. Everybody, and it's just you brought in a guy that everybody knows. I understand that when he's had some good defenses, but if you look at some of the players that he had on those defenses, when he had good defenses, he had elite pass rush, which is something that we kind of struggled to do. We don't have that Aaron Donald. Yes, we've got Grady. We got Amimata. Hopefully, I think he's either a free agent or somebody that we got to bring back. AK is kind of coming on, but not, where we would like him to be. But if you look at the years that Ulbrich has been a defensive coordinator and it's not been great, he has not had great defensive pass rush, which is something we don't have. Now, as a Falcon fan, I'm going to be optimistic, and I'm going to look at it. He's got to prove it, just like every other coach does. So I'm not going to hate it, but I think again this was another friendly hire instead of hiring the guy that you needed to get in here to change the culture. You hired another guy that the head coach knew that was buddies with, and it's a comfortable hire. It was this kind of thing like with Bill Belichick. You didn't want Bill Belichick in here because you thought he might want too much control. You talked Arthur Blank out of it. Something's got to change. I'm not saying that he can't do it. I'm not saying that we don't have the guys to get it done. But at this point, I just want to see us do something different. Yeah,
Cody, I think after the Jimmy Lake hire and the failures that you've seen from the defense, and then some people say, after the bye week, Jimmy Lake had this team turned around, but that's not the case because Raheem Morris came out and said that he had hands in the defense after the bye week. So you go with another friendly hire, as you stated, Cody, in Jeff Ulbrich, a guy that's familiar to the franchise, familiar to the owner, familiar to Raheem Morris. Terry have a good connection. Obviously, Terry is going to buy into whatever his head coach wants here in Atlanta, chemistry-wise. Cody, when it comes to the chemistry, maybe there's a little bit of good here. Let's talk about the good here, Cody.
Yeah,
talk about the chemistry with Jeff Ulbrich. What does that mean for this defense? And the rumors have stated that the Falcons are expected to go back to the 4-3 base defense as they ran in years prior with Jeff Ulbrich and Raheem Morris. Cody, your thoughts on that and switching back to the 4-3 with the familiar Jeff Ulbrich?
Right. Now, see, that is the good news, and that's one of the things, it's kind of it's one of those things, I guess, it's frustrating because it's like, okay, is this going, it's kind of feels like another, like I said, a friendly hire due to like the stuff that went on with Jimmy Lake. But the good news is chemistry matters. It does. When you're on a football team, chemistry matters. Familiarity matters. Now, obviously, a lot of I think is what Grady Jarrett and Jake Matthews are the only guys from that 16 team that are left. But we did have success with that defense. It was a young defense. It was a fast defense. He was part of that with the linebacking core and stuff like that. And so, him and
linebacker core was so nice throughout those years.
Yeah, absolutely. Keanu Neal, Debo, those guys. So I mean that's
DeAndre
good.
Campbell.
And as long as the good news
Brian
is
Cole.
if Coach Raw is going to keep hands in the defense and Ulbrich is okay with that, good, because that does mean that hopefully I think we just took a step back in that Carolina game. I don't know, huge step back, but hopefully with the familiarity, that's the positive that I'm going to take out of it. Hopefully with the familiarity there, they can find a way to take those next steps to get the best out of Grady Jarrett, to get the best out of Amimata if you re-sign him, to get AK to really take that next step. So, I mean, there's definitely positives out of it. It's just, again, wanted something, the Falcons to do something different because we've been down this road before.
A lot of Falcon fans did.
Yeah, but it is what it is. And, when we're sitting, 6-2 or 8-2 and the defense is looking great, we'll look back at this and be like, that was the right hire.
Absolutely. Rick, brother, the question bounces right over to you. The Atlanta Falcons select Jeff Ulbrich. This is no breaking news. It's been, a week now that the Atlanta Falcons have selected their DC. Other teams now selecting their head coaches. Ben Johnson hired today by the Bears. You see other players or other coaches taking interviews now. Rick, the Falcons' decision for Jeff Ulbrich. Was that a key selection to you, or was that a piece where you're like, what are the Falcons doing here? Why are we retracing 2016?
To be honest with you, I'm super torn. I'm kind of in the same boat as Cody. It's like I understand the familiarity. I know the one thing that doesn't work, and that's the revolving door. And one of the problems I've had with the Falcons for the past 20 years is the revolving door. And it's not fair to the players. It wasn't fair to Matt Ryan. It's not fair to all of our younger players, new OC, new DC, You can see it when they're playing in the first 6 games that they're not in sync, and it's not always the play in the scheme. Right. Sometimes the OC is not matched up, and then as the season goes along, they start to flow, right? Well, the good teams stay together consistently. And in year 2, they take a lead, year 3. And I feel like we can never take the lead because we're always resetting. Yeah. So to me, the Ulbrich hire might have been like, you know what? He is new, but it's similar. So it won't be as much of a disruption to some of our young players. I think we have a lot of young players in our linebacker crew. I think we have a lot of young players in our secondary. Mm-hmm. So I'm kind of torn, but I'll tell you like I tell in the stadium, man, like you got to show me at this point. Like I hear it. Falcons fans, stand up. It's 3rd down. I'm not clapping. I'm not doing anything till you make a play, and then I'll cheer for you because I'm doing my job. Mm-hmm. I'm at the point now where you guys got to show me. Like the Falcons have disappointed me so much. You got to show me. But I will tell you, I'm a big fan of Raheem Morris. I like what he stands. I like how he talks. I like the energy he brings to the team. It seems like they have a good culture in there. It's year 2. So just like DQ and a lot of these other guys, Arthur Smith, I'll be honest with you, I didn't see it. But I kind of want to see how this kind of plays out. But at the end of the day, it boils down to Jimmys and Joes. And right now, like the Falcons got to get some big-time playmakers. They got to get a dog on the front line. They got to get another linebacker because Troy Anderson ain't getting it done. They need to get some corners. So, unless we
Troy
get
Anderson, Troy Anderson can't stay healthy to get it done, right? That's been a huge disappointment in Atlanta. Yeah, absolutely. The versatile play that he played at coming out of college, being a quarterback, running back, linebacker, like I was thinking this guy's a side-to-side linebacker. This is going to be nice here in Atlanta. And he's never taken that step. It's always been an injury, a pectoral tear or something to do with his shoulder. It's just it's tough sledding for Troy Anderson in Atlanta.
He can't even build momentum. So I don't even know if he can even do it. You see the flashes, but when you play 4 games off 3, play 2 off 4, so we'll kind of got to see. But my boy.
Another thing that was very.
Go
ahead, Rick. My bad, bro. I'm lagging a little bit.
I was going to say, what's his name? I forgot. Keenan Ellis. I mean, he showed up this year. So I thought Landman, what a disappointment that was. I was expecting Landman to take a lead this year after the year he had this year. I saw their scheme. I don't know the name of the scheme, but they switched to where they only had Ellis on the field and the other linebackers were off the field. I thought they were a little bit more successful with that scheme. But I'm kind of curious, like, there's more holes in the defense than I thought coming into this year now that I've seen them play.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And if you look back to before the preseason started, you have Philip, your guy, Helms. Helms goes down, and there's a situation where if Helms stays healthy, you maybe never go and sign Justin Simmons. Helms starts your season out for you, and Justin Simmons may never even be an Atlanta Falcon. So there's a lot of free agency signings that Terry has got to dive into when it comes to this offseason. Philip, that's another topic for later, and we're going to get to that. But before we do so, Philip, Jeff Ulbrich, man, we've talked in the group chat a little while the past week. We've expressed our feelings on how we feel about Jeff Ulbrich, how we feel about this signing. But let the fans know, how are you feeling about the Jeff Ulbrich signing in Atlanta? Are you happy Chat, let me know. 1 in the chat if you're happy with the defensive coordinator. A 2 in the chat if you wanted a different candidate. Philip, take it away, brother.
I'm just kind of like the rest. It wasn't my first option, obviously, but it is what it is. It's what's done is done. We can't change it, but I feel like there was other candidates that could, maybe in my opinion, I don't know if it was true, if it would plan out the way I thought it would. You don't know. But I just feel like there was other candidates that were better. But, I'm okay with it. I'm not going to be one of the ones on social media thrash the guy because of how things went over in New York because of such and such things. Because the defense was 32nd. Well, he was trying to do 2 jobs at once because one guy couldn't get the job done and then got fired. So, I'm not going to be one of those fans. But, I still feel like it's an upgrade to what we had. Jimmy Lake,
I believe it was. Absolutely.
It's an upgrade. I mean, what Jimmy Lake had going on, he don't even know what was going on. So, I mean, I'm not going to get too deep into it because I really don't have no harsh feelings for like the signing because I'm okay. I guess you could say I'm mellow about it.
So if you had to grade it, Cody, this question goes to you and Rick and Philip, and then we'll go to Robert. If you had to grade the signing, what would you grade that signing? Starting with you, Cody.
Because I'm kind of on the fence, I'm going to give it a C until I see the product on the field, and hopefully at training camp, this summer. But right now, it's a C for me because I think you could have brought somebody else in.
Rick, your thoughts?
I think I'm going to have to go C too, just because I'm undecided. I would have liked to see them shake it up a little bit. I think Falcons did typical Falcons things, which 50 plus years has proven to not work. So,
yeah. Philip, your grade for that DC hire there, Jeff Ulbrich.
Just because I'm iffy about it, I'm not gonna. It's somewhere between a C plus and a B minus. You see what I'm saying? It's like in between there. Just like I said, just want to see what's
see
to
it
come.
Established. See it.
See how it's actually gonna pan out at first, and then I can follow up on that.
What's really going to excite me is when we get into free agency and we see some of these signings, like these Jets players that are hitting free agency, these Rams that are hitting free agency. Like, you have all these connections and relationships with these players. Players love Raheem in LA. They also love Jeff Ulbrich in New York. Sauce Gardner with the quote on Twitter speaking on Jeff Ulbrich and how great of an assistant head coach he was when he filled in. Like, players that have respect for this guy. That's what brings in players to different organizations. That's where it starts. Robert, your thoughts on the Jeff Ulbrich hire, brother? We talked about it. I know you were happy with the Wink Martindale hire. You really liked the Lou Anaramo and the Steve Wilkes. All 3 hires we said on the podcast. You were getting a winner if you chose either one of those defensive coordinators. Instead, you went the Jeff Ulbrich route. Robert, your thoughts on that signing?
Well, when they made the mention that he was the front runner for the job, I didn't believe it. But then again, we're not in the office, we're not in the meeting rooms and so forth. But the familiarity with the organization, I think, is a plus, and the connections, with the Jets. When he filled in for Saleh when he got fired, he didn't do too bad of a job as interim head coach. The Jets played a lot of competitive games. I think he'll bring some energy here. And if we go back to the 4-3, I think that better suits, our personnel. I think that'll go a long ways as well. Again, he wasn't my first choice, obviously, but, I'm optimistic enough that, I think that it's obviously an upgrade. I think, like the rest of you guys said, we got to see, the product on the field first before we can really pass judgment. But I'm optimistic. I think it's a solid hire. I'm not going to say that they hit it out of the park just yet, but it's a solid hire.
Absolutely. Let's get to the chat real quick, man. Chat's popping off. Shout out to everybody that's here tonight. Hit that like button. Head over to YouTube and subscribe if you haven't already. Cody, my guy, Cody Keeler is giving away a pair of brand new Apple AirPod Pros here. If you subscribe to YouTube, let me know in the comment section, and we will get you on that list to be entered for that raffle. Shout out to my guy, Keith Simmons in the chat. He said, family. Shout out to you, Mr. Keith. Stormy Sat Mama in the chat. She said, happy Tuesday, DFU. Love where the man feel. Keith Simmons in the chat says, draft Grant from Michigan and sign Kinlaw. Kinlaw is a name that I've been watching very closely, Mr. Keith. That is a guy that I think could be a difference maker here in Atlanta with the Arnold Ebiketie. give him that extra help on the other side of him, maybe you can get to the quarterback for more than 6.5 sacks. He says that's the trench hire right there. You get those people and you have the trenches set on the defense side of the ball. Sterling Woods, another diehard Falcon fan in the chat, said, what's going on, everyone? Sterling, glad to have you here tonight, brother. Share the podcast to another Falcon fan. Keith Simmons in the chat says, I like Ulbrich hire. He'll coach up the defense. He coached a top 5 defense. We just need an average defense. Offense can be top 5. From what you've seen those last 3 games with Michael Penix at quarterback, I truly believe that last sentence there. That offense can most definitely be a top 5.
Well, you know what's one of the cool things that I did, Michael Penix in 3 games threw 747 yards. If you look at Spencer Rattler, who had played in 7, 8, only had 1,003. So Penix was putting up, he was putting up numbers. So as much as I wish he was playing in the playoffs right now, I was going to say I'm excited to see what he's got for us next year.
Sterling Wood says the Falcons need a good D-line coach. And, guys, I have a really nice candidate for that name. Let me pull this name up here. We talked about it the other day in the chat. The Texans D lineman, Nate Ollie, vacant D lineman job. Sources say Ollie has worked alongside Jeff Ulbrich with the Jets in 2021, helped coach up the Houston's front to 49 sacks, tied for the 4th most in the league this season. Falcon fans, the sack margin was an issue in Atlanta, and it has continued to be an issue in Atlanta since John Abraham. Shout out to you if you were having John as a special guest. But since John Abraham, the sacks have been an issue in Atlanta. That starts with a D lineman and that defensive coordinator, because, guys, these people have a lot of say in who comes to the defense, who we draft, go for in free agency. It's not all on Terry's shoulders. It's a full circle moment when it comes to signing players in Atlanta. So keep that in mind when you see these free agency signings, these trades, whatever may happen this offseason. Let's chat about that, because that's been roaming the Twitter world for quite a while now. The Kyle Pitt trade rumors. I posted about it the other day about how kind of would be a little heartbroken to see Kyle Pitts walk away just because of how much I supported the cat when we drafted him. As soon as he was selected, I went, ordered the jersey, had high hopes for the kid. He comes out his rookie season, puts up 1K on the ground with my guy, no other than Matty Ice himself. And then after that, it's just you have not got the production out of Kyle Pitts that you needed. Cody, are you happy if the Atlanta Falcons trade a Kyle Pitts to a Cincinnati Bengal team for a 3rd-round pick?
At this point, you could trade him for a washing machine for all I care. I just need him out. I just need him out of Atlanta. I was going to say, it's just I don't care at this point. I've seen, I've been around a lot of football. I've watched a lot of football. I have played a lot of football, and when somebody has quit, and when somebody is just being dog lazy, and that's exactly what Kyle Pitts has been the last 2 years. He wants to be a star. And in every right, he should be a star, but he's not here. You've got Drake, you've got Bijan, you've got Tyler, you've got other weapons outside of Kyle Pitts. And if he can't accept a role of, hey, you may not be the featured, wide receiver / tight end hybrid, and that's what's going to make you quit. Really, what was the game that he quit running his route, and it's a touchdown if he runs through her at very least. It's 15 yards for pass interference, and now we score a touchdown. I can't even remember what game it was at this point, but at this point,
Cody, what you're saying is it's safe to put this back up.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's safe to throw that up on the podcast. And
absolutely. Just get him out.
Cody.
I would say, get him out. Go get me a 3rd round. Go get me go get me a snow cone machine for all I give a shit, and fucking sell them at Mercedes-Benz.
You can go outside and get that right now.
Just
I can go make you some.
There you go. Let's say
Kyle Pitts, man.
Get me a draft pick, or go get me somebody that's proven something. I don't care. I want him gone.
Now, a lot of Falcon fans do. A lot of Falcon fans want to see maybe another year with Michael Penix, but you're not going to get that more than likely because of the contract issue when it comes to Kyle Pitts and the selection that you took him at. He may want a little more than what you're offering. Rick, your thoughts on the Kyle Pitts situation in Atlanta, man? Do you trade him? Do you rock on with Kyle Pitts? Your thoughts?
I wish I understood it.
Yeah.
The guy's a generational talent.
Yep.
Drake is the most physical Falcons player we've had in a long time.
My favorite player, baby.
I'm on the 15th row looking at Kyle Pitts like, that guy's an animal.
Mhm.
And then I say him play like a marshmallow. And I'm like, what is going on? And I completely agree. I just watch his body language. He quits.
Just looks lazy.
He's disinterested. He's lazy. He doesn't want it like the other point. And so for me, I don't really care what the talent level is. He's going to be a cancer in the locker room because he doesn't get the same level of it. Because the rest of the Falcons this year showed me a desire to win and get after it than I've seen in a long time. And a player like that, we don't need in the locker room.
100%.
So I have a Kyle Pitts jersey. I bought it this year thinking him and our quarterback, Cousins.
I bought it rookie year.
And that's it. I mean, you showed me 4 years. What's going to happen in the next year? I saw him with Penix, and he costed Penix some problems. So I'm done. I'm done with it. I think we can get a third rounder and have a defensive player. I don't think we really need a tight end, to that caliber.
Already kind of low in draft picks as it is. You get more draft compensation.
Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure we lost that third round pick anyway, so why not gain it back?
Yeah, put him in the AFC, and
Oh, say and you could get if you want, like Rick just said, we don't need another tight end. Warner to me felt more productive in the very limited time, not only in the blocking scheme of it, but in crucial moments. I felt like Warner showed up more than Kyle Pitts did this year.
Well, you noticed Warner. You noticed him on the tape and on the field. I sometimes was like, is Kyle Pitts dressed today? Where is he? I can't even find him right now.
Yep.
And that should not happen for the unicorn.
Yep, absolutely. Yep, you're exactly right. Philip, your thoughts on Kyle Pitts, man? Is that ship sailed? Is the unicorn finally out of Atlanta?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I would like to see if it could turn around with Penix, but it's just like what everybody's saying though. The body language. Hell, me and you watched the games together, and we've noticed it. And for you, that's your favorite player at the moment.
Yeah.
Or was. I don't know if it's changed, but like.
It's definitely
for me.
It's that guy. It's that guy right there.
So I mean, you know what I mean. So like,
the announcers call him out almost every game.
It's gonna like Rick said, it's gonna cause problems in the locker room. Because he's not doing what he's supposed to, or he's just running lazy routes, and it's been proven. Matter of fact, I can't remember which game it was, but he could have had the penalty, which was the pass interference, but he quit on the play. That's what didn't draw it, and it's just the laziness like that, which could have put us into the position to win that game. I can't remember exactly which one it was.
I can't either, but I know
the harsh reality is if the Falcons win 1 to 2 more games, they're in the playoffs.
But see, but you know what the ridiculous thing is? When we played Tampa Bay the second time, and it was tight end day, where's that Kyle Pitts? Where's that Kyle Pitts all the fucking time? Where is that Kyle Pitts? Because if he played if he would give me that game like every third game, I wouldn't care at this point because that's great. But for you to show up one game out of 16, okay, congratulations, you caught Michael Penix's tying touchdown against the Washington Commanders. Ooh, okay, so impressed. It was a great catch. But you can't show up that little and be a star. You can't. You cannot do that.
Let's be for real. Nobody thought he caught that ball.
No, I didn't.
At first, nobody thought he caught that ball.
I'm gonna just say it like this. I didn't thought he caught it, and when I found out he did, I nearly passed out because I'm dead serious. I was on one knee because I was so damn surprised he caught it. And it made me happy because I thought, damn, we're back in this. Obviously, we were. But damn,
Robert called him out probably like week 4, week 5 in the new offense with the Kirk Cousins. Still not really seeing Kyle Pitts. Robert, you talked about it early on in the season. Kyle Pitts not giving the production that the Atlanta Falcons needed. Robert, what did you see in Kyle Pitts to let you know that this would be the year that the Falcons probably trade Kyle Pitts?
Just to Rick's point, the body language, especially after the second Tampa Bay game when he scored the 2 touchdowns, it's just like something just shut off with him.
And you know what's crazy, Robert? It's the tight end weekend. That's the only weekend that Kyle Pitts seems to go off the past 2 years.
He even done it, what was it, the year in London, which was tight ends day.
Yeah.
He just balled the hell out. After that, hell, I don't even remember what the hell he done after that.
But, yeah, I mean, if we can get a third-round pick for him, I say go for it. For the main reason is, a couple reasons. Number one, his backup, Warner, just outperformed him. And number 2, we don't have a lot of draft picks right now. Our draft capital is not great. any extra draft capital we can get, that wants to go on the field and perform and earn their paycheck, we're going to have to get these guys in here on these rookie contracts because of the dead caps hits that we're going to get for the next couple of years with Kirk.
Yeah.
If we're going to stay competitive, then it's a no-brainer. We got to pull the trigger on a trade.
Absolutely. You gotta get picks in here. You gotta trade for everybody. Get some compensation here in for a player that really hasn't been productive his time in Atlanta. We have a very big list here of free agency names that have to be signed or have to be released before the season is over. And this is some big name guys, like guys that matter to this team. Main one right here that I'm looking at that was a huge factor in the special teams. Cordell Hodge.
Mm-hmm.
You got to figure out if you want to keep Matthew Judon. Do you want to re-sign Lorenzo? I hope not. Do you want to re-sign Justin Simmons, Richie Grant, Mike Hughes? Guys, take a look at this list right here. And if there's one name that you have to sign and you have to make sure he's the first signing, who would that be? Cody, that goes to you. Who is your first signing here on this free agency list? Who is top priority?
For me, it's Drew Dahlman, man. I would say he's where your play starts at the center position. Now I'm a little biased because that's what I played, so I'm always always looking out for my guys. But honestly though, that's my first guy that you have to get signed. You have to find a way to get Drew Dahlman back in a Falcon uniform, and keep that O line solidified, because that's where your chemistry really needs to be tight. And they've shown, our offensive line has shown that they just get better and better the more they play together. I know everybody was hating on Caleb McGarry, but look at what he's done and how he's grown. So, if you can keep your offensive line together and keep that core, I think it not only does it benefit, the run game, with Bijan and stuff, and it's also going to benefit Penix too, because he's got guys that he's familiar with. He's used to, taking snaps from Drew. He's used to, all that stuff. But Drew Dahlman for sure is the guy that I go get first.
Yeah, absolutely. Drew Dahlman, keep that center for Michael Penix, a guy that he already has reps with. Rick, if you had to select one today and you had to pick one top priority on this list, who would be your top priority?
Well, to add on, I will say that they ran a list of top 500 free agents, and Drew Dahlman was number one on the list in the NFL. But I'm going to take it a different direction. I'm going to go Kadarius Hodge. And the main reason is I think there's something special about that man when he's on the field. Mm-hmm. I mean, he made plays in every facet of the game, the energy he brought to the team, the way they uplifted him. He does something for the culture and does something for the special teams. He came in and made plays when Drake got hurt. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to go with Kadarius Hodge, number 12.
Cordell Hodge was my pick as well. Cordell Hodge winning that Tampa game, that first game in Mercedes-Benz. If Hodge doesn't take that thing to the house, who knows what happens to the end of that game. So Cordell Hodge, and then some of the big special team block punts that he had this year. I mean, he had two. Cordell Hodge definitely deserved that Pro Bowl spot, but Bijan was definitely snubbed. Philip, who do you have here on this list for your notable 2025 free agency list? Who's your top priority?
No, let me stop. I'm just playing. I'm fucking with you. Hey, like Cody and Rick said, man, you can't go wrong with either one. You know what I mean? It's either Drew Dahlman or I'm about to say Richie Grant. But Drew Dahlman or Kadarius Hodge. Kadarius Hodge. It's between one of them two. Like, you can't go wrong with either. Just like we said, to tell our boys in Rick, without the line, the continuity of the line, and everything like that, nothing else gets done. You have nothing else. And then you have somebody like Kadarius Hodge that just, got the Pro Bowl this year. He was running high. He made plays. He won games for us. And then it wasn't just in one game. He done it in several games when Drake, some games where Drake just left the game or, took a breather. It's just certain things like that, and he made plays and scored touchdowns. So to me, it's one of those two. I can't really say exactly who, but it's just one of those.
Absolutely. Robert, your thoughts?
Including Richie.
Yeah, I don't think you can really go wrong with either Dahlman or Hodge. Or Richie.
Yeah.
But yeah, if it were up to me, I mean, the first player that would have to be priority would be Dahlman.
You sure it's not D. Alford, Robert? You sure you don't want to sign D. Alford?
No, I'm not into dumpster juice, boys. I'm sorry. No, that's all right. But yeah, I mean, after Alex Mack left, just the play at center has been spotty at best. Of course, the last couple of seasons, Matt took a horrible beating because of the offensive line was basically a block of Swiss cheese. I mean, there's so many holes in it. The line's, stout now. We need to keep that continuity. So, I mean, honestly, I think that Dahlman would be the top priority.
Absolutely. Dahlman is a solid pick. I like Dahlman. A lot of Falcon fans were arguing with me about the fact that we should re-sign Dahlman because they said he snaps the ball too high. Said he snaps the ball too high. And I was like, dude, you switched a quarterback at week 12 in the NFL. Mm-hmm. It takes time. Falcon fans
are be honest with you though, snapping the ball to Penix to me seemed like it was more accurate to me than it was when he was snapping it to Kirk. I'm just being honest.
It was just Bijan short, man. Bijan hit that one.
I was saying, Bijan is short. I was gonna say, but
besides that
one time, please name me another time he snapped it over somebody's head.
Yeah,
because I can't think of a single time.
If anything, to me, sometimes I feel like not every time, it's a low snap more than anything.
Mm.
Other than that.
My thing is that I would just love to see people go out there and do that. Like I say, I played center for 10 years. It's not easy. Right. It is not easy. I'll tell you that right now. And I didn't even play at that high of a level. So
I mean, you're at the point of attack, man. Right when you snap the ball, your hands. They're coming after you.
A big topic, since we're on the offense right now, we're talking center. A big topic that's been rotating this offseason was the fact that would Zach Robinson be fired? Would the Falcons pull in another OC, or would they rock another year with Zach Robinson? Obviously, they choose to continue to roll with Zach Robinson as of now. I'm sure if they were going to fire him, that would have been done as soon as Jimmy Lake was let go.
Yep.
So I'm going to say that Zach Robinson is safe for another year. With that being said, question that goes to you, Cody, and we'll rotate around. Zach Robinson's offense. Do we like the playbook? Do we not like the playbook? Or have we yet to see Zach Robinson's full potential because of a pocket present Kirk Cousins?
I think so. I'm kind of split on this. I think I think he was very limited in what he could do because of a very immobile Kirk Cousins. Mm-hmm. When it looked good, it looked really good.
Yeah.
But the one thing that Zach Robinson, I will die on this hill. You have got to find a way to get Tyler Algier and Bijan on the field at the same motherfucking time. Yes. It is not hard. You have got to figure it out. You have got to figure it out, because I swear to God, if Tyler Algier, Michael Turner's us, and we send him away, and he turns out to be the back like Turner was, and it comes back to bite us in the ass, I'm going to be pissed. You have got to find a way to get Bijan and Tyler on the field at the same time. Other than that, jury's still kind of out. We'll see what he can do with the more mobile quarterback that can bootleg and move around. So
play action, hopefully to see more of that this season. Rick, your thoughts on the play action, the play calls this year? A lot of pistol formations here for Kirk Cousins. Then you've seen really the last game against the Carolina Panthers. I would say that was the most you've seen of that playbook all season. Like that. I mean, you put up 30 to 40-something points on a game against an NFL team with a rookie quarterback in your first year as OC. Rick, is the future bright with Zach Robinson, or are we kind of iffy about this guy's play style?
I mean, I got to see year two, but I saw some promising trends. I think there were some things that were working against him with Kirk in the beginning, trying to get his feet under him, so he's kind of limited. You also have a brand new Darnell Mooney, brand new Ray, a couple of other new players, so they're kind of trying to work it in, and it's a brand new scheme overall. But I did see potential. I did see momentum. Even when Kirk was in there, we saw it open up and make some big plays. So I need to see a second year with Penix. I would say the same thing about him that I see with Falcons in the past history is the number one thing that kills me is when it really matters, they get too cute. Stop getting cute. We know what the play is.
Wildcat, for instance.
You do a direct snap to Bijan. It works the first time. We don't need to do it again.
Exactly.
Hand it off to Bijan on first down and let him run it in. That's the one thing that kills me about all Falcons OCs. Our running back runs it down the field 80 yards, and then they don't run the ball again. And I am just sick and tired of seeing that.
Or in that situation, give the ball to Tyler. That is literally what you – But and to Rick's point here again, the stupid little screenplays. Quit doing it.
That's unnecessary.
It's
Rick, real quick. Rick, is this your YouTube right here, brother?
Yes, sir.
Hey, everybody in the chat right now, man, if you're watching this live, head over to YouTube to Rick James, man. Give my guy subscribe for coming on as a special guest. Y'all hit the YouTube up, man. Show some love.
Yeah. All my stuff is ATL Rick James. Check me out. Appreciate it.
Check them out. Philip, Zach Robinson. I know the trend for Zach Robinson all season was up and down. It was a roller coaster all year for me and you as well for Zach Robinson. There was times where I was saying you got to get rid of this OC. You've got to find a better play call. And then there was times like Rick and Cody said, there was times where you seen flashes that were nice, where you were like, okay, this is an offense scoring 30 points a game. Like we're putting 32 points on the scoreboard. Like when's the last time the Falcons have done that? Philip, your thoughts on Zach Robinson in Atlanta? Is year 2 better than year 1? Hopefully it is. But your thoughts?
Looking at the second half, well, not really. Well, I guess I'll say second half of the season. You know, even in the beginning, heck, there was times where it was just deep chunks of plays. Like it was flowing. But you know, to me, it seemed like when Kirk injured his arm in the Saints game, the New Orleans game, you know, in Atlanta. I think it was Atlanta. I don't remember. The second game, though.
That was in
New Orleans.
After that, you know, things just looked a little, iffy because it was like he was limiting Kirk to certain things, and it just
the Raider game is a good game.
I was about to say we about lost to the Raiders of all damn games. It's crazy to me. And then the previous games, you know, it was like the interceptions. So it was just, you know, certain things it seemed like he had the limit on. But as Penix came along, it's like the playbook just opened up like a book. Like it was just plenty of pages and pages, man. Like it just looked good. It was flowing. Everything worked. You know, we see more mobile plays with the quarterback moving out, you know, certain things like that. So it's definitely there. It's just, you know, obviously you're not going to be perfect. So some games it's going to be just stupidity or just random bullshit sometimes, you know. But, you know, I think year 2 is going to be good with him and Penix. You know, I'm looking forward to it.
Am I the only one that has PTSD? When I was watching Penix throw the ball a couple times, I was like,
you're not the only one, bro.
And then they made the play, and I'm like, damn, son.
Yeah. What was the one?
Every time he threw
it was the Panthers game, that long pass.
The first pass.
Kadarius Hodge. Just like wide open.
Zips it between 2 defenders. That was a great throw. Great catch by Hodge as well to keep his feet in bounds. That's why you re-sign Hodge. Robert,
I thought it was picked at first.
Yeah,
that was a tight window to throw in. Robert, your thoughts on Zach Robinson, year 2 with the guy Michael Penix? Obviously, his year 2 to get a full start on the season, week 1 in Atlanta. Fingers crossed, all goes well in training camp and preseason. But you start the year off fresh with a Michael Penix, week 1 with Zach Robinson. Robert, what's your expectations for this offense?
I think it's going to be explosive. I think Zach's learned a lot. You know, this is his first year as a coordinator, and there were obvious growing pains. I mean, he was so gung-ho about using the pistol formation with an older, immobile quarterback, which was never Kirk's strong suit. You know, Kirk was better under center, running play action, or just, you know, if you want to keep him back in the backfield, you just use the shotgun.
Yeah.
But, you know, I mean, if Zach still wants to, you know, stick by the pistol formation, younger mobile quarterback is, you know, it's going to be better for him. And
even Robert, even if he did stick to the pistol, I think we could all agree here the pistol looked a lot better with Penix.
Much better. Yes.
Roll outs too. Oof.
But yeah, I mean, I think he's learned a lot. I think as the season went on, he was able to figure out how to make better use of his weapons. Of course, you know, Drake had a fabulous year, and, you know, hopefully that'll shut up a lot of the critics. But to Cody's point, you know, if we don't trade or let Tyler Algier walk, we need to get him and Bijan on the field at the same time. In the late 80s, the Cincinnati Bengals did that with James Brooks and Nicky Woods, and they got to a Super Bowl with that. Even earlier, you know, when I was younger, you know, I watched William Andrews and Lynn Kane do it for us.
William Andrews, what a stud.
Yeah, I mean, of course, that was a different style of football back then when you use an actual fullback as your primary runner. But, you know, I mean, Tyler's a hoss, man. And, you know, Bijan, he's the explosive one. I mean, put them on the field at the same time. You know, Robert, see where this can carry us.
You've heard the frustration straight from the GOAT's mouth. Maybe not straight from Tyler Algier, but you heard it from his uncle, Louis, when he was here on our podcast. He talked about it, how, Algier was be kind of down, that he's not on the field like he should be, that he has that talent. And Lou also talked about the strong bond that him and Bijan have together, how close those guys are in that locker room, out of football, in the offseason, how they stay linked together all offseason. So I think, yes, you're absolutely right. You're 100% with Cody here. If you get both those guys on the field, this offense could be a repeat of what Ben Johnson has done in Detroit the past 2 years.
Yep.
I mean, It has been absolutely their formula to success to get to where they've been. Now, granted, they fell short the past 2 years in the playoffs, but the fact that you've made the playoffs, it's been 2017 since the Falcons made the playoffs. Just give me the taste. I just want to taste the playoffs, Falcon fans. Just give me something to be happy about. Keith Simmons in the chat said it pained me seeing the Commanders because they could have been up. You're absolutely right. Seeing Dan Quinn take another team to the divisional championships,
good for him though.
Shout out,
definitely shout out to DQ, because that guy brought that here to Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? Like, he brought that hype to this building. He brought that to the city, and
I had respect for Quinn. It was different with Quinn than it was for me with Arthur Smith's. It's a lot different to me. Even to this day, Smith hasn't gave a thank you letter to, couldn't say thank you, fuck you, whatever. He didn't say anything.
Fuck him. I don't want his letter.
Right.
What's even crazier is the guy's still getting head coaching interviews. That's what's crazy to me. Like, how's Arthur Smith getting a head coach interview?
Wasn't it the Raiders or Jets or something like that?
Yeah,
go to the Jets, my guy. Go to the Jets.
I think it was the Jets.
Man.
Ask the Steelers how having his offensive paralysis was.
Only a dysfunctional organization like the Jets or somebody like that would even be interested. I mean, and
the only thing that Smith brought to Atlanta was just an offensive line. Anything else was god awful.
Run game, that was it. The run game and
else was god awful.
Run game was strong.
Well, the only reason why he got any consideration to begin with was because of Derrick Henry.
Yes,
you're right.
Derrick Henry was a huge, and then the fact that Ryan Tannehill had that great season. That was the two factors of why he was up for a head coach. And a lot of fans talked about that, of how Smith wasn't head coach material yet, and the Falcons still went out on the limb and made it happen and signed him 4 years. 4 years of continuous below 500. And
I don't even
another
know
season again below 500.
I don't remember who the other candidates for that year was. But
damn, man, you had listen, Philip. Let me enlighten you here. Who you had? You had Ben Johnson.
Yeah.
You had the Texans OC. I forget his name. He was a big time candidate there for a while. Forget his name, but he was a Texans offensive coordinator. There was the Lions DC was also up for grabs. So there was a lot. There was a lot of people you could have hired over Arthur Smith. But again, I think you go with familiarity.
That's a headbanger there.
Arthur Blank has ties with people that he knows with big money. His dad runs FedEx. What do you expect to happen here in Atlanta? But this is going to be our last topic for tonight before we close the channel out. Hit the like button, subscribe, leave a comment. Cody, starting with you. If you go into the draft tomorrow, what is your biggest void at number 1 pick? Who do you select, but what position do you select in the first round?
God, that's tough. This defense needs some major players in it. I guess with the Ulbrich hire, you've got to go get you a pass rush. You have finally got to go get you somebody that can get after the ball. Whether that be the kid, I think, was it the one from Notre Dame that's been looking so good? Yeah. Yes. That or somebody. Go get somebody who can get the quarterback on the ground. I would say, because, let's be honest. I love Grady Jarrett, but he's getting old. I love Amimata, but, there are times where I don't know where he is. Sometimes he's taking a step back.
Yep.
AK is not where you need him to be. Really, right now, the only guy that you have that has, Judon was kind of a disappointment. The only guy that you've got right now is Caden Ellis that has found a way to just torture quarterbacks. It's Caden Ellis.
And then J.D. Bertrand during the Washington game before,
I
believe it was just a small injury what got him taken out of that game, the rest of the game. But he was a terror to them. Daniels. I can't say his name.
Yeah, I would say you just, that's what you got to do. You've got to address the defense. I don't want to see a single offensive player taken this year Offense is fine. I mean, you've got your set wide receivers. You've got your all-star.
It was so crazy to me is fans online are still calling for another receiver. And I'm just like, why?
That's so ridiculous.
Darnell Mooney was like 6 yards from 1K. The first time you would have had two receivers over 1K
and
since 2012.
If he wasn't injured, he would have been at that game in that game and only needed 6 yards, and he did
6 yards. So 1K.
I was saying, then you got to think too. You still have Randall Moore who was out. I was going to say, so you've got Drake, you've got Mooney, you've got Hodge, you've got
Casey
Drake,
Washington, a guy that I'm very excited about.
Yes, your offense is set. Leave the offense alone. You re-sign your center, bring back Cordell Hodge, and your offense is set. I would say now, not next year, but the following year, you're probably going to have to start looking in replacing Jake Matthews because he's getting a little long in the tooth.
Yep.
But this year, fix your defense. Go get me a pass rusher. Go get me that corner that can be on the opposite side. That opposite side of AJ Terrell. Go get me a linebacker that can, take a lot of that, a lot of responsibility away from Caden Ellis, so Caden Ellis can do what Caden Ellis does. Those are your three right there. You need a pass rusher, you need a corner, you need a DB2 that can mirror AJ, and you need to get a linebacker.
Absolutely. Rick, Cody obviously just pretty much stated the whole selection that you need to make because I would agree 100% with Cody. You got to have a linebacker, like Keith says. You got to have that defensive lineman, and you got to have a cornerback. But Rick, who are you taking in the first round? Or what position? It's a little early to call players' names, but what position would you select in the first round?
I think I got to see what we do in free agency, who's available, and being at the 15th pick, I got to see how the draft's going to line up and who's going to fall. And do we take the third best DE or do we take the number one quarterback that's available? So I got to kind of see how that falls.
I agree.
But I think I agree. I think they're going to be strong in free agency on the defensive line. If they don't, I think that's a huge mistake. So I'm going to think in the draft that we do an AJ Terrell and we go strong cornerback on the side. Because our cornerbacks got us torched this year.
Yes.
I'm down.
So yes, I think that's
G over.
Philip, who's your spot? What spot are you selecting? Like what position? I mean, like Mike Hughes was not Mike Hughes after the injury when he came back this season. He played well at the beginning of the season, and after that injury, it was just like, where did Mike Hughes go? Where did D. Alfred in the nickel go? Where did our slot cornerback go? Like, what is happening to the defense in the secondary? Philip, what are you selecting?
Sitting at 15, I'm looking at it. Obviously, I want to see what goes on in the draft. I don't, this past year was heavy quarterbacks. I don't know if that's going to be that this year. I don't think it will, but we'll have to see. We don't know. But
I just need that Dolphin that goes by the name. Go ahead, Philip.
I want to do what?
No, go ahead.
Well, what'd you know? So go ahead.
I just want that guy that his last name starts with Starks from Georgia. That's all I want. Give me Malachi Starks at 15. Yeah, that's your best cornerback in the draft to me. To me, that's your best cornerback.
I don't know, man. Man, he got torched a little bit.
Everybody has their differences. Everybody has.
AJ
but I will catch him some
AJ
slack.
AJ got his ass torched in a national title game, and look.
But look, I'll give Starks some credit on this. He was moved to a different position and then moved back to his original. So that I will give him a little slack on that.
He was graded. Now this doesn't mean shit, but he was graded the best cornerback coming into the draft.
But I'm gonna go with a corner though. If it goes the way I'm thinking. I'm going corner easily. I just want to see
a lot of good cornerbacks out there. There's a lot of good pass rushers this draft as well. The past two seasons or the past two drafts have been stacked with defensive linemen. I mean, look at Jared Verse, guys. I mean, I was a huge fan for Jared Verse. A lot of Falcon fans said that would have been a stupid pick, that you should take maybe a Will Anderson trade to get a Will Anderson trade up to get Buddy from was he from? He's with the Steelers now. I forget his name. It doesn't matter. He's not a Falcon. But there was a lot of players that other Falcon fans wanted you to get. So cornerback maybe not being the sexiest pick at number one, but that is definitely the position that I'm going. Cornerback, or I'm going with another. You've got to get me a proven edge. If you don't do it in free agency, you've got to get one in the draft. I need a strong proven edge in the NFL. Robert, you know the topic. Where are you picking? You're at 15. You're either going to trade back or maybe, they can shock the world and trade up. But what are the Atlanta Falcons going to do when it comes to draft night? What position do you think they select?
I agree with Rick. It's all going to depend on who's available and what we do in free agency. My personal preference would be a pass rusher. I would love to see somebody with a high motor come in there and just torment,
just dominate
our division rival quarterbacks, especially that punk Baker Mayfield. That, but I mean, and again, what we talked about earlier, with the Ulbrich's connections, with the Jets and with the Rams and so forth. I mean, a lot of those guys are going to be let go. They're going to be looking for new places to play. But my personal preference, if we've got a generational talent, a pass rusher at number 15, you go for it.
Win-win situation. You can go any direction as long as you go defense. You've won the first round.
As long as you go defense. But I mean, Terry's been.
We're gonna go quarterback again.
I swear to God, if we go get a tight end with our first pick,
oh my God, Cody, don't even talk about it. Don't jinx us. Don't even talk about it.
I don't shit. I really don't see that happen.
I will lose my shit.
They're gonna go running back again, guys. Don't worry.
Shit, trade Algier and go another running back.
Can you imagine?
Are there any fullbacks available in the draft?
Damn, first round fullback. Let's go. Falcon fans, hit that like button, man. Leave a comment, subscribe if you haven't already. You're listening to DFU episode 129. Falcons get their DC, but at what cost? Hit that like button, man. This is DFU. Cody, kick us off with the shout outs, brother. We have reached our hour mark here on the podcast. It is time to call this thing a wrap. Cody, shout outs.
Say shout out to y'all, coming on talking Falcon football. I can't lie. After we watched the Buccaneers get their asses knocked out, I've quit carrying because I don't know about y'all, but most people get seasonal depression and shit. But when the Falcons are done, man, I'll say that's when my depression hits, and I'm not one to be depressed, but so I'm still feeling it. So I didn't watch the national championship game or any of that, but it was good. It's good to get on here and talk about the Birds. Shout out to Rick, coming on, man. It's been a pleasure. Shout out to everybody that's watching. Again for the fans. You guys aren't watching. We don't have a reason to get together and do this on YouTube. We could leave it in a group chat. So. Shout out to y'all. Keep liking, subscribing. We're on the march to 1,000. Hopefully by the season starts.
Falcon fans. Yeah. We are itching for that 1K here at DFU. We are right at that halfway mark, and if we could make another 500 in the offseason, that'd be crazy.
Yes, sir. That'd be great. But y'all keep watching. We'll keep pushing out Falcon content, man. I don't care if we got to talk about Michael Penix's golf game or whatever the hell we got to do to put out Falcon content. We'll do it. But other than that, guys, rise up.
Cody, always a pleasure to have you on the podcast, brother, bringing the stats and the facts to DFU. Rick, our special guest, glad to have you here today, brother. Obviously, it's been a long time coming to get you on the podcast. Things have not worked out for us, but it happened tonight. Rick, glad to have you here on the podcast. Your shout outs for tonight.
Yeah, thank you guys. Appreciate it. Appreciate you guys bringing me on. It's always good to talk Falcons. I talk about all the time right after COVID, we kind of separated from our friends and family. You don't get a chance to meet with your boys and talk game and watch the game in person. So being able to get together and talk about my favorite thing with some other diehards is always fun. And, I would say to all Falcons fans, we wait 6 to 8 months for football to come around, and it finally hits. So for me, I like to spend those 6 months being positive and happy and excited, and I don't let it get to me too much because if the Falcons aren't doing good, I get depressed and I don't watch any other games. So try to keep it positive and don't let it affect you too much. We don't work for the franchise. We're just fans. So try to be a fan and watch and support.
Yes, sir. Great. Pleasure to have you, brother. Philip, shout outs for tonight, man.
Man, shout out to God, man. It's been a blissful night. We definitely got snow right now, so itching to go outside. Thankful for that. Thankful for you guys, man. Shout out to the Dirty Birds, man. Without them, this podcast wouldn't be created. What to talk about, but shout out to the fans, everybody out in comment section. Good to see you. Always some good comments. I'm just sitting here reading half of them while we just talk about other comments. So thank y'all for that, man. Thank y'all for coming tonight and seeing my weather statement outside, man. It was fun doing that. That me is probably dead outside right now, freezing. So, but shout out to y'all guys, man, and shout out to the team. And can't wait to see what happens in this off season for like draft and stuff like that. You know,
it's gonna be
fantasy
fun.
draft and everything. It's gonna be a fun year.
It's crazy to say, but the offseason it's
exciting.
The offseason just may be the funnest time on the podcast because you got the mock drafts we do, you got everything, the predictions.
Besides when we're winning, you know, because Rick, I don't know if you know, but when we win, I like to troll every team that we beat.
Phil's got his own
This
segment for this.
This previous year, I have trolled the Cowboys. I came in with a cowboy hat. The Bucks, I brought in my broom. I swept the trash away. You know, certain things like that is what it's fun, you know. So I hope we can continue doing that. So shout out to the Derbies, man, and rise up, man.
By the way, Philip, I'm waiting for my snow cone. By the way, Philip, you gotta hurry up.
Philip, there's snow on the roof. I need you to get up there and shovel that off before you get out of here.
I'm not your personal handyman.
Robert, glad to have you here tonight, man. Give me a shout out so we can get out of here and close this podcast.
Well, shout out to you guys. It's always an honor and a privilege to be here talking Falcon football with you guys, and it means a lot that you let me be a part of it. Shout out to you, Rick. It was an honor and a pleasure having you here tonight. Shout out to our viewers, our subscribers. You know, keep that support coming. It means a lot to us. Shout out to the Falcons themselves. You know, you're the reason we're here talking. You know, just give us something to be happy about here in the near future.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I gotta see one.
And as always, you know, to my family, Brianna, Peyton, Zach, and Christy, I love y'all. Rise up.
Rise up from DFU, Cody, baby.
Let me know what flavor you want. I got you, cuz. I got you.
Piss flavor.
It might take a good 4 or 5 hours to get there, but hey, I can get it to you.
Give me cherry and grape. We want it to look red and black.
There you go.
That's it.
Falcon fans, you have watched DFU episode 129. We thank you humbly for coming through, leaving comments, leaving the like, hitting the bell when we go live, subscribing if you're new to the channel. We appreciate every single one of you guys. All 477 of you subscribers, we greatly, greatly appreciate you guys. Falcon fans, without you, this is no podcast. Once again, shout out to my co-host. Without the co-host, there is no podcast. Shout out to the wife in the next room with the babies. Shout out to the good man upstairs that keeps this podcast rolling in and out every single day. Without God, there is no podcast. There is no us. There is no anything for this show. So once again, shout out to you guys. Shout out to you, Rick, for coming through, man, with the special guest. We appreciate it. And Falcon fans, stick with DFU throughout the offseason because we have some things coming up that you'll be excited about. Hit that like button, leave a comment. And by the way, DFU is in chats with Malcolm Turner. So stay tuned here to DFU. Hit that like button, leave a comment, subscribe. It's your boys from Dirty Fanatics United. We up out of here. A-Town down, rise up. Appreciate you. Right.